Hey viewers, and welcome to an all-new variation of Old vs New. This is the first instalment of Simili Membrana. Believe me when I say it's better than that. Basically, Simili Membrana is Latin for similar film. And so you'd expect, in this segment we are going to be comparing two films with similarities in plot and genre. And today we're comparing two action thrillers from 1997 and both involving planes. Con Air and Air Force One. Both these films are different plot-wise. Con Air is set on a prison plane that is taken over by, you guessed it, some of the prisoners, and Air Force One is set on the presidential plane of the same name that is taken over by Kazakhstan terrorists. Con Air is said to be the more violent and is considered a cult classic, whilst Air Force One is considered to be the more gripping and is on the list for the top 10 highest grossing films of 1997. But just which is the best version? Let's delve in and find out. Well, let's get started with the first round. Nicolas Cage versus Harrison Ford. This is Best Protagonist. Now here we are with two polar opposites. On one side you've got Harrison Ford, who is considered one of the best actors in film history and has a series of successful series to his name, including Indiana Jones and Star Wars. And on the other, you've got Nicolas Cage, who's been criticised on many an occasion for just playing himself. Here, however, I don't think Nicolas Cage's performance as ex-Army Ranger and soon-to-be-released prisoner Cameron Poe was that bad. I kind of liked it. It had that sort of element in it that made him different from other Cage films. Though, I'm sorry, but that accent, that is not a southern accent in the slightest. Surely that has to be one of the worst attempts at an accent in film history. But aside from that, and like I said, good performance from Cage, even against the likes of Cole Meany and Steve Buscemi. But even as Cage's performance is good, Harrison Ford is easily the superior protagonist. Why? Well, as I say, Ford is always a powerhouse actor, and he definitely doesn't disappoint here. His role as US President Jim Marshall is very strong, even if the action overtakes the acting. He manages to fit Marshall the President, Marshall the Family Man, Marshall the Quick Thinker, and Marshall the Fighter all into one. He doesn't hold back when it comes to killing with terrorists, though he does show signs of reluctance of guilt, such as when the press secretary has a gun pointed at her head and the president fights himself beforehand in the Arvonics Bay over does he surrender himself and save her but give millions a death sentence, or does he stay where he is and give the other hostages, including his family, a chance to survive, but have another death on his conscience. It's really a no-brainer. Point goes to Air Force One. But you can't have a protagonist without an antagonist. Next round is Best Antagonists. Now, in my view, John Malkovich as Cyrus the Virus is the only true villain of Con Air. Okay, some of the other prisoners who help hijack the plane don't have a sense of good in them, but Cyrus just feels more evil than them. Heck, more evil than Garland Green. On the other hand, there are only 7 villains in Air Force One. The 6 terrorists who hijack the plane led by Ivan Kushinov, and the man they're trying to free, the dictator, General Radek. But here, we're comparing Cyrus and Ivan only. Like I said, I'm not a big John Malkovich fan, but I like his role as a self-asserted leader of the prisoners. But like the first round, as much as I feel Malkovich did a good job, Gary Oldman as Kushinov is superior. Why? Well, the same reasons as Ford over Cage. Gary Oldman is always a powerhouse actor, and he's also a master of accents. Here, he does a very good job of Russian. Plus, you can tell there are two vastly different sides of Kushinov in the film. You've got one side where he's totally evil and will stop at nothing to get what he wants, even if it means shooting someone in the head. But the other side is much more complex. In a speech lasting 2 minutes, when Kushinov is speaking with the president's daughter, you can tell he's not as evil as you'd expect. He's not doing what he's doing because he hates the president, oh no. He's doing it to try and release a man who he feels can return Kazakhstan and Russia to its former glory. Plus, he has a family of his own. In a sense, you almost feel for him. Then again, he does kill someone in the most chilling moment of the film only 10 minutes later, and he then threatens to shoot the president's daughter in the head sometime after that. So you kind of waver between feeling for him and outright hating him. But again, point goes to Air Force One. But what good are protagonists and antagonists, but no supporting characters? Round 3 is Best Supporting Cast. Now these two films combined result in a crap ton of supporting characters. Con Air has actors like John Cusack, Steve Buscemi and Cole Meany, whilst Air Force One has actors like Glenn Close, Paul Guilfoyle, William H. Macy and Russian acting legends like Levon Yuchanishvili. Many of these supporting characters are superb. Buscemi plays my favourite character in Con Air. He plays quite a psychological person in Garland Green, and it's interesting that Green is the most vicious and brutal of all the prisoners on board, being nicknamed the Marietta Mangler, but in some scenes he fights with his heart and in a sense almost turns good at the end. But, as with the previous character rounds, Air Force One is superior. Why? Well, it's down to 3 actors: William H. Macy, Levon Yuchanishvili, and Liesl Matthews. Macy plays Major Norman Caldwell, who keeps a cool head even as death happens around him, and fights to keep Marshall alive at all costs when they're together. Matthews plays the president's daughter, Alice, who witnesses most of the violence and murders in the film, and even has a gun pointed to her head at one point. How she can take all that and still bravely call Kushinov a monster, I do not know. And finally, there's Yuchanishvili, who plays my favourite terrorist in the film, Sergei Lenski. He pretty much takes the ruthlessness of Kushinov and times it by 2. He may not have as many lines as the other terrorists in the film, but as the saying goes, his actions speak louder than words. Though, at one point, his IQ goes totally out the plane window when he attempts to stop the hostages escaping the plane from the parachute bay. I mean, he just charges in, going, "They must be stopped at all costs," and does the dumbest thing someone could do at 15,000 feet. He doesn't even stop to think, wait, is what I'm about to do even safe? But I'm not going to spoil just what he does. I'll let you see when you see the film. So overall, Con Air has good supporting characters, but Air Force One has even better, even if Lenski's memory does go blank in that one scene. For the 3rd round in a row, point goes to Air Force One.